Beth, scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated are you there with that?
Oh, it's got to be a 10, honestly. It was like similar to the Ammonia game in frustration levels, but I mean, we had opportunities to score. We should have had a penalty, and you can't just say you should have had a penalty to win the game. We should have created more. There was bad decisions again in the final third that we should have made different decisions, and there was players that I feel like should have been brought off in the first half that weren't, and we should have changed the game. I don't care if there's players on the bench, like youth players. For me personally, give Iqbal a go. He can't be worse than Fred in that midfield. It just can't be possible. So I think from the manager's point of view, there could have been a few different decisions, but also the players just, for me personally, weren't good enough. We should have beaten Newcastle today. Newcastle, time wasting from minute one. Is that really how you want to come here and play? They must not think that much of themselves to come here and play like that. That's what I gathered from that. Because before this, I thought Newcastle were quite a decent team. We're going to give us a game. Just sat back and then tried to hit us with set pieces, had about 10 concussions and was time wasting. I just didn't see the point in it, but we were naive to it and we kept falling into the trap. And I'm not blaming the officials, I'll get into the plays in a minute, but Craig PAWSON today, genuinely, one of the worst refereeing performance I've seen since the Atletico game here last season. It was horrendous. How VAR aren't checking that decision, or whether they've checked it and got it wrong, it's a clear penalty, it should have been given, and it should have been overturned. And also, the yellow card, Bruno Guimaraes fouls Bruno, nothing. 2 minutes later, it's the same foul on Bruno Fernandes or Bruno Guimaraes. He gets his yellow card out straight away, and it was just consistently like that throughout the entire game. But yeah, I think Eriksen is a massive, massive loss in that midfield. We need a player like Jude Bellingham in the summer, and that game sums it up. To me, that game was a perfect example of what we need: a striker, and we need another midfielder. We also need a right back as well, but if Eriksen's injured, and to be honest, I'd like to see Eriksen and Bruno kind of rotating in anyway, we need a Jude Bellingham, a Frenkie de Jong. Personally for me, Jude Bellingham, because he's more physical, and I think you need physicality in the Premier League, and you need a striker because we just don't seem to be scoring goals, and fair enough, the service isn't always there, but we need someone like Ivan Toney to come in and be that presence up front, because Rashford can't do when he comes on. You see that header at the end. For me, a centre forward should be scoring that goal. Still has really good attributes. I think as a left winger is brilliant. And the midfield, Fred playing there, I think if we have Eriksen instead of Fred, or any ilk of other midfielder in that midfield today, I think we win the game. I generally do. It's as simple as that.
Is it all down to that midfield missing?
Yeah,
that was the key
it is,
today.
especially because of how physical they are in there. I mean, that Bruno Guimaraes, to be fair to him, he's very, very good. Like, he's very good. I'd like him in our midfield. Joe Linton's physical. Like, they've got physical players, and Fred, it's just lightweight, horrible first touch, can't pass it, always out of position. It's just, not physical.
Today, I seen him in every position.
I struggle to think what the attributes are. And it's like, we were desperate for McTominay for today. We were desperate for McTominay. And that just shows how, under a certain coach like Erik ten Hag, for me, there were similar levels last year. McTominay's improved massively. And I think Fred in this system, he just does not work. He does not work. It's like, people saying he's more of an 8, but as an 8, I think he's poor. Definitely not a holder. And I think he was ultimately just getting in the way. He got in the way of Shaw's runs quite a few times. Bruno as well. Bruno was consistently telling him, Fred, make this run. Fred, do this. And they were just consistently arguing throughout the whole game. And it shows that there wasn't any cohesion in that midfield at all. I mean, the wingers should have done better. I mean, Sancho, I thought he had a decent-ish game, but went quiet in a lot of areas. Him and Anthony, to be honest, you expect more. And with Anthony, I thought some stuff he does is brilliant. Like the way he can beat a man, the way he can get past him and use his pace, I think he's good. But he needs to either use his right foot or switch wings on occasion. You know, when you switch it up to kind of catch the defenders off guard, because there's so many times you're just crying out for a right-footed cross and he cut in again. And you don't want to be known as a player that's always doing the same thing. So he needs to start using his right foot, and it can't be that bad. Like, it can't be that bad. I mean, Erik ten Hag has said he can use his right foot, so he needs to start practicing it and using it.
Why didn't Fred use his right foot, Beth, in them last few minutes?
No, I've just watched it back, and Rashford was originally offside, so it's not like the worst possible outcome. But at the same time, why are you... If that Rashford was onside, that is unforgivable. And to me, it summed up his game. Like, it was an open net, and you still can't hit the target. Like, even with his left, he should have been getting that on target, but I agree with you, he should have used his right. The thing is, though, Fred was passing with his right foot throughout the game, so I don't know why he couldn't have used his right foot for that. And then Rashford at the end with the header, he should be getting that on target.
They're the moments, Beth, like you said there, it does look like that's where that money's going to have to be spent in it, because you can see things working.
Yeah.
We are missing a few players.
And Ronaldo as well, it's just like, I don't think he's playing bad. He's just getting no service, and then he's dropping deep, and he's making runs that he shouldn't be making. It's like when Sancho's got the ball, he should be in the box. You know, when it fell to McTominay in the Ammonia game, that's where Ronaldo should be. But today he was trying to make runs into the goal line that were never going to lead to anything, because they had him for pace every single time. So it's like, I just don't think there's enough cohesion, and I do think there were certain decisions that should have been made by the manager a little bit differently. I thought Rashford, like, getting into that position where he passed it to Fred, that was brilliant. That's what Rashford's really good at. But he's not a centre forward that in the last few minutes of the game, Ronaldo should have been there purely for set pieces, purely for corners. Like, we had nothing in the box, especially with the amount of height they had. And as well, it's like, keep making the same mistakes over and over again. I think it was 1 of 6 of Varane's passes over to Sancho didn't go out of play today. If that keeps not working, and I rate Varane so highly, but when it's doing something that's not working, you call it out. And that isn't working. Martinez constantly cutting inside to De Gea. He's obviously been told to do that. It's not working. Pass it out to Luke Shaw and get the play going quickly. We struggle so much to build out from the back because we're making the wrong decisions. Everyone can see the ball to Shaw's on, but we're turning to De Gea that we know can't pass. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people are getting hyped up about the Everton game about David De Gea. That game today proves exactly what the issues are. I rate De Gea. I'm glad he got his award. I really do. But if Erik ten Hag wants to play out from the back, which he clearly does, it's not going to work. That pass into Fred is lightweight, fair enough, but he still should be making that pass. Multiple times we lost possession because we were passing into De Gea when we know he can't do it. And I started to blame Martinez as well, because it's not his fault, because the keeper should be able to pass out from the back. But if you know someone's weaknesses, why are we playing into that?
Exactly. Beth, before we go, finish on some form of positive. Who got your man of the match today?
It's honestly, it's really hard for me because I genuinely thought everyone was like a little bit iffy, but to be fair, I thought Casemiro did a really good job in the midfield. I think he held all their runners down. I thought his position was great, and it held the midfield well considering Fred kept leaving him when he was supposed to be helping him out. So yeah, I'll go with Casemiro.
Cheers for that, Beth.